What's going on, everybody? And we have been doing conferences. I've been at Brink all day. We had the PMA conference going on as well. Kara Agostino did her Safe Spaces thing today as well. So many fun things going on. I'm in my house right now, and I'm gonna just send some messages, people, and just tell me, what did you think? Were you at any conferences today, and what were some of your takeaways? What conference were you at today? And what else? I can imagine everyone's like mad tired from doing this, but you know what? It was so good, and I will talk about some of my takeaways if no one else joins us, which is all good. Stella. And you're going to see my kids walking by in the background as well. So, to everyone who's rolling in right now, hi, Carol. Did you attend any of the... Oh, I forgot to tell Carol, too. Hey, Jenna. Jenna, you could join me if you want, or you could just watch the world go by, because I know you poured everything into the last 2 days and the last month leading up to it. So give me a thumbs up or just ignore me right now. Either way, it's all good. How are you, Michael? Celia Jones, how are you? I'm tired, man. It was good, I was at Brink, and Jenna, can you buy the Brink replays? Like, can you just register and just get the replays for it? Is that possible? If so, put it in the chat so people know what the deal is with that. Because Brink was so good, and as you saw my toolbox thing, if you didn't check it out, my page here, I did a little analogy about a toolbox, and that would be one of my major takeaways, is just how he just uses those phrases about commoditizing things, and how we can so easily... What was his line? What was Raphael Bender had this thing where he said, we're trying to be so different with the way that we present, and the reason why we don't stand out is because we're still trying to fit in. We're still trying to get that acceptance. We're still trying to get some sense of approval from the masses, so we don't do the things that our business needs to stand out. So I like that. I like that a lot, and that did speak to is encouraging to me in some ways, and then it also made me challenge my own personal desire to be approved and to have things done, not approved pat on my back I'm important, but approved in the sense of doing something that's conventional enough that people will embrace it as having some validity. Because if you're too out in left field, sometimes people don't even respect what you're doing because it's too far away from what's familiar. It doesn't have enough of an anchor. So the sense of wanting to fit in that perspective was interesting. So that was the one piece. And then the other part he said was about commoditizing things, and we unintentionally commoditize what we do. And what he means by that is something that's a commodity is something that is an item that is pretty generic. When was the last time when you got gas for your car? Did you go to the exact same gas station, or did it do you go for a specific brand? Like you just went to the first one you could find, right? And he used the example of peas. Like you just buy any brand of frozen peas if like my wife, don't think that's gross. But yeah, so our brand can be so generic that people will just go to the first gym that they find or the first Pilates studio that they find. Or we could be unique and special and personalized enough that they'll want to come to us and they'll drive 3 hours to come to us, or they'll do an online class with us. So they'll drive. Like, this is a conversation I was having with the boys. We went for their haircuts today, and we drove to downtown Mississauga, which is not that far, but how many barbershops did we drive past to get to our barber? That's unique. How many studios, gyms, boutiques do people drive past to come to my studio? That's what makes it unique. That's what makes you unique. Are you intentional with that? So I love that. And I was like, yeah, that's solid. I like that. Everly, if you want to join me, I'd love to hear just your reflections on how the PMA went today. And yeah. So Raf, yeah, he spoke to me. That was solid. Let me see here. Everly is saying, I used to drive 75, 90 minutes for a weekly private lesson. Drove a whole... That's hardcore. I'm going to bring Everly on now. What's going on, my friend? You're
Am I breaking
spinning
up a little
and
bit?
frozen.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, again.
Okay, awesome. You want to say hi, baby?
Hi.
Hi. What's your
Yes.
name?
Elijah.
Elijah? That's a powerful name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, go play. Yeah, so I used to drive 75 to 90 minutes for my weekly private lesson because I knew what I wanted. So to your point, yes, like people will drive. Like I
Yes.
used to living in Annapolis, Maryland, and driving to Vienna, Virginia every
Mm-hmm.
to work with a specific instructor who was both a Pilates instructor and a physical therapist.
Yes.
And I, postnatal, and I just really wanted to connect to my body, and I wanted somebody who would both do Pilates with me and not be afraid to veer away from Pilates when I needed it. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
rare, in my opinion, combo because this instructor uh, works for a very well-known like strict classical school,
Yes.
but she would always give me what I needed. And so I really
Yes.
loved that balance. It'd be like footwork, put your feet here, be here, be here. Then she's like, okay, lay on the mat and breathe and let's get on this oove. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, let's do both.
Right.
So
But
anyway,
I love that. And actually, Dr. Tammy, if you want to join us, give us a thumbs up. If you want to jump in, I'll invite you in there too. But that's it. Like I feel like when people can do that, it's almost like we're saying about standing out, but then being unique. There's a sense of, for me, where you gotta. I would say I want to be informed by the classical, informed by this, whatever the root is, so that
mhm,
people like the foundation, but then I can go wherever I want because that foundation is there, and have the confidence to know that we could do something that doesn't look anything like Pilates, or we can go in and throw down like the classical order and be versatile enough to be able to do both. So in my mind, that's what my brand looks like. Whereas for someone else, it could be something totally different, and that's fine too. But like, you know, that's the thing. Whatever, however that looks for you, whatever that the way that is expressed, like that is the whole thing of making it unique. I almost feel like I want to bring my tools up and do show and tell because it's like so fun, that little piece. But
but yeah, I definitely like I love I mean, I'm a dancer as well, and so like I really heavily respect like tradition and where things come from. Like I respect it, like in dance, like if you're raised in the States or anywhere in the West, or really like you're doing ballet as your foundation, like ballet and maybe jazz or something like that. But it's so
Yeah.
that you can spin off of it later, but you have to have something to know what is a point and what is a flex, right? You have to like
Yeah.
have a.
I'm gonna bring in Dr. Tammy too at the same time while I'm trying to get her in.
And
Oh.
saw your pinned question about what conference were you at today.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was at the PMA virtual conference.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was a co-MC of the conference for 3 lovely, exhausting days. It was a really beautiful experience, and it's really you were all, oh, thanks.
Oh,
So, but yeah, it was really awesome just to be able to connect with people, to see people's faces, to teach a class.
yes.
That was just so cool to be able to engage with the international Pilates community in that way.
So how I don't really care about numbers in terms of like was there 300 people there, whatever, but like was it like well represented in terms of people from all over the place and that sort of thing as well? Yeah.
Yes, yes, it was. Yes, so we had I had a couple DMs just saying, "Hey, I'm in Germany.
Oh,
Uh,
amazing.
what's can you help me to get connected?" I'm like, "Yes, I can." And
Yeah.
so we are the PMA is definitely in a huge revival, and it's so exciting to be a part of.
Yeah.
We really deeply care about what people want and need, and
Mhm.
so which may not have always been the case, but that is definitely the case now. And
Yeah.
putting
Yeah.
we have a diverse array of committees that people can join, so their voice can like directly be heard, and they can make a direct impact and influence in how
Very
we
cool.
go.
So then what was uh, the theme actually for the whole conference in terms of
Yeah,
like
it was Unity, Harmony, One Alliance.
right.
So, and just we did a lot of diversity in Pilates, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was we brought in elders who were still surviving to share their experiences, and it was actually really cool. Was
Mhm.
hearing the elders who are the most classical that's exist, right? Like
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
so directly trained, and they were saying we can't ignore science, like Joe wouldn't ignore science, like so some of the things that we
Yeah.
go. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool. Jennifer, do you want to join us? I'd love to have Jennifer. Uh, because like she's thrown into this Pilates world and she's not a Pilates mover, but she's so integral
And
to our work, right?
she's deep in there now.
She's all up in there now. So I don't know if she's free to join us, but that's great. Like, and I think that like you know, the rhetoric was there are amazing people who are now on board who are trying to do right with it. So if nothing else, support those people. like, like that's the love, right? Like, I mean, like, but I look crazy.
Next time, Jennifer. But yeah, it's I just speaking candidly, I was going to be teaching at the virtual conference that we were originally going to be holding prior to a lot of the big changes last year, November of last year, when there was different leadership, different board, different everything. And with a lot of things that I was seeing, I just felt very uncomfortable. And it was and you and I are getting to each other more personally,
Hmm.
and it's been great. And it's like, there've been a lot of challenges that I've had. So many people have had pandemic related, not related to pandemics. And
Right.
so I was really challenged because it was an opportunity for me to, we're talking about promoting brands just a minute ago, right? It was an opportunity
Yeah.
for me to promote my brand, to promote myself, to teach in front of an international audience. But I had to choose between growing my business and growing myself
Yeah.
and integrity with with what felt right. And so I chose to take a business L and withdraw myself. And when everything, and shared that, and when everything kind of happened, and Carla Harris came on as the interim, she read my letter that I wrote to the previous executive director. And she actually said, that's the energy that we need. That right,
Mm,
the energy of calling it out when you see it is
yes.
actually what we want, as
No.
opposed to, hi.
So this is Dr. Tammy Francis, and Dr. Tammy, this is Everly, and
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
just like powerful Black women in this space who are just doing great things in their space. So Dr. Tammy just finished talking at Brink as well,
Nice.
and yeah, it's so funny. Like there's such empowering conferences that were happening in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And now just reflecting on like after the fact now, like every you're seeing like there's a unity that's coming back to the PMA and supporting their people. And then the Brink space, there's such a vibe of okay, for someone like me, I felt like it was so empowering in what I'm doing. And then how do I take this to another level, to a different level? How do I feel stronger in what I'm doing right now? Like I just got so many different things from so many different people. So, yeah. So Tammy, like, how was it for you? What was your feel on the Brink side as she's fooling and there you go. Did you catch
Sorry, I had to turn on my Wi-Fi.
all
Y'all
good?
were just spinning it, and I was thinking, "Oh my goodness, I can hear him, but I can't see."
Okay. So you heard what I said then? You're good?
So yes, I'm good. So ask me that question again because I
Okay,
missed.
sorry. And like how was Brink for you? What was some of your takeaways for it?
My goodness. So so today alone, we started about the how, which we
Yeah.
started talking about earlier in the week, and looking at that, and then. Oh my goodness, the thing that really struck me is something I needed to really consider a little more, because Beth talked about starting from a place of trauma and looking at can y'all hear me? Am I still
Yeah.
okay? Good. Because y'all are twirling, so I'm not sure what this Instagram is doing. But Beth was talking about looking at it and approaching it from thinking about, from the trauma standpoint, and people coming to your practice or your business in need of help, and they want one thing, but you have to look at some of the things that are not said. And so I really like that. And then Katie was talking about fear, and one thing I know is fear is real, and so it's just a matter of how you navigate that and
Yeah.
work through and putting that into your business and knowing that that is something that is there.
Yes.
So it's been really interesting today, the threads. Like I heard, I talked about manifest, but I also heard that in other talks today.
Yeah.
Like I heard other people talking about manifesting and what that looks like and how you bring that to your practice. So, I will say that because I'm a student, I've moved into the student part of Pilates, that today I was thinking, oh my goodness, like I really need to get back with it. I was inspired to pick back up the instruction and learning new things about some of the new and innovative things happening in this space. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. That's so good. Um, Here's a question for both of you since we're at two different conferences.
Mhm.
There wasn't that many men around this weekend.
Not a ton. There were some male presenters at the PMA. I didn't get to take, full disclosure, all the classes because I was, doing the MC thing. But there were some, but it was pretty female heavy. Yes, I do agree.
Yeah, and that I know. And I think, Martin, this is really your space. So I may be, saying that I need to hush about. So you tell me that. But one thing I know is that men really need
Hey.
bodies. Hey! Woo-hoo! I'm loving it.
Hello. Okay, sorry, Tim, finish your thoughts. So men
No,
need blood.
it's like men are the ones that are least in this space, and I find that they benefit more sometimes than the women because of the type of activities they're doing, the things they're involved in that require the physical aspect and the movement and the things required of the body. And so I was like, the men really need to be here. you know, they need to hear some of this. They need to hear some of this. And, but they were not. So we'll just have to keep sharing. Sending them to you, Martin.
On my way. Yes. Oh, there's Misty. So Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm good. I was like, I know I'm crazy because I've been at this conference all day
Right.
online, but I have got to like jump in and like say something. So I you said this, I'm like new to this industry, right? And I was sort of thrown into it.
Mhm.
And I told you that whole story. But I was just blown away today, really. I mean, you have been involved in this industry and, you guys are doing this great work, and this was all new for me. There are a few things that just struck me so much. The level of dedication and commitment to health and healing
Mhm.
was beautiful across the board, and that's shared by everyone.
Yes.
The enthusiasm for the changes that we are really working to make at the PMA, and people's genuine desire to see something different and to experience something different, to have a true sense of belonging and inclusiveness. The diversity roundtable that Shuba Limbach facilitated was just, I was like, oh my God, you know, you know, we sent a swag box to everyone, just cute little swag box, got my nice little PMA water bottle. And we had socks in there from Tuckets, but they were ladies' socks. They were socks for women. And we had men who were attending the conference. So we still got, and we're all, it's a journey. We're all like working and learning, right? So
Yeah.
just, but I think that what's beautiful is that we created this safe space for
Mhm.
that to happen. We created a safe space for a man to say, hey, I had women's socks in my box. Like, it's cool. I'll give them to my wife, but. And so, I mean, I really want to send those men socks. Anyway, but I was really struck by that. And
Mhm.
and I mentioned to you, Martin, that I like boot camp, like hard, like pumping workouts, and I always thought Pilates was kind of boring, but I'm just, this woman did this workshop on feet, and I already feel better. Like my feet are like amazing. I'm supposed to be working the
I
conference, but
love that.
I've got my mat on the floor here. At one point, my husband is sitting there watching the workshops with me because he's got back. I mean, it was just wonderful. So, I just
Love that.
I I just thank all of you for, I'm really, really passionate about food security and health and healing. And so that on it separately on itself attracts me to just this industry.
Mhm.
But I was just blown away, really. I was just blown
Yeah.
away. I have notes for the future, for us to make things even better. And I'm hoping that we can do something even more wonderful in 2022. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just great.
That's
So
awesome.
anyway,
But thanks for sharing all that because I know that as a Pilates instructor, as a fitness guy, when I hear someone speak with this revelation that Pilates did something for them, like, for me, like, yeah, I know that I'm expecting to get blown away with certain things, but then when you hear someone experience that for the first time in that way, I'm like,
yeah.
nice. That's a W for the industry in terms of the movement
It,
itself, right?
you've all committed yourselves to something so wonderful. And we put together all of these videos, and oh my goodness, all the videos honoring the elders, and we did this wonderful Heroes in Motion video. And the video producer that I hired to help with those was just amazing. And I think she created wonderful stories, just honoring and recognizing all of the different people who are benefiting from Pilates. Like I just,
Mhm.
like, I'm a disciple.
Good stuff.
I'm
Peter,
just, yeah, it was wonderful. So that's what I came on here to say. I'm still working. So I've got to get an email out for our last like day 3 of the conference. So I'm going to say
yeah.
goodbye. But
Thank
just
you.
thank you so much for having Everly and on, and yeah, just thank you. I love what you're doing, Martin, and it's so nice to meet you, Dr. Tammy. I saw you the other day.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Stop.
Jeff.
Bye.
Keep doing
Okay,
great.
I'm gonna. Bye.
So I have this line. My wife is she has this line, like, you know, you say like to your spouse, I love you, whatever. She has this thing where she's like, I just like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's one thing to like love the person, and that could be an obligation at times, and that could be like super passionate at times, and that could ebb and flow. But like, if you like someone, you like them. If you don't like them, you just don't like them. And so she'll say that, like, I like you. And in a different way, I was talking with someone, and they're saying, you know, I noticed you put a lot of weight behind Brink. Like, why do you pump up Brink so much? You know, and you know, Everly, like you, a big fan, and we've become good friends, and PMA people, and see Misty, and I have a lot of people and guys that I'm really excited about. But with Brink, I feel like last year was like, I'm going to pour all of my energy into Brink. So someone was asking me that. I was like, well, like, what is it? Why is it so important to you, or why? And I was like, I just like Jenna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like her vision, and I like her as a person.
It's the experience. It's to experience someone, right? To really experience them and their space and what they create. And, you know, there's a lot about the experience. We don't talk about that word a lot, but it's a lot of experience. And we don't think about it as experience in a person. And so that's when you really like them. Yeah, I love you. And that can be unconditional, good or bad. But to really like someone, it means you want to spend time with them. You want to be in their space. You like the experience you have together and what you
Yeah.
together.
Right. And that 100%. That's very well put. And the other thing that I realized I really like is her husband. Josh, really cool guy.
Cool.
We ended up working together this morning as Jenna was finishing off a class. So she came in, I was like, can Josh co-host it? She's like, I'll ask him. He's like, he said yes. We're like, nice.
It was awesome. It was an awesome. It was
Yeah, it was fun. And like, and we were just, as we were bouncing ideas off one another, like I felt like at one point when we were talking in my breakout, how I said something and he said something, and I was like, let me just open up to the rest of the people before we just like lock everyone out in this conversation about carrying water, and just how our how and our why is like this solid vessel, and the how is the water sloshing around it, and it's so dynamic that we can't, you know what I mean? Like, we're having this conversation, we just kept going with imagery with it because it just made sense to the people in the room. And and Josh was a real good catalyst with that conversation. So Jenna, if you're still watching, kudos to your husband. And my wife also has one of those Roots fanny packs, and I hate it as well, so we're bonded in that as well. And yeah, it's all good. All good stuff. Anyone else in the chat who was here? I'm not gonna keep you guys hostage. If you want to just like jump off, you can. Or if you want to stay, you're more than welcome to hang out. But if anyone else who was at
Yeah.
one of the conferences wants to join me, please come on.
Oh, Martin, I do want to tell you, to your point, I am working very hard to raise more Pilates guys.
Mm.
They
So-
need it. They need it. Yes.
Yeah.
Pilates guys right over there that were
Yeah.
like, when I joined the call, they were on the chairs and like doing rollover on the mat. Like, they love it. And I just bought some of Christina Godard's children's Pilates books.
Yep. Yeah.
But
We
like
got
collection, and so the kids are like, they were looking through the books and just getting really excited about the Pilates animals. And both of my twins are really into Mario and Luigi, and so they drew a whole Luigi Pilates workout. It's very cute. So it was very,
that's
very cute.
awesome. Yeah. And get your Frankie Fitness books out too. Get Jason's book.
Please, like, yeah, and like I want these resources. Like, teach me. I do not know it all. So if you have resources, like, share,
Yes.
because I definitely want to support businesses, and I also want to continue to educate my little guys too.
You're building athletes over there. Show them LeBron James doing Pilates. That should.
I've shown them your page, actually.
Say that I was talking to one of my boys. He's like, I think I pulled. I said, you need Pilates. We can do
Hey.
some yoga Pilates here. We can do some yoga and Pilates, and I'll work you out. And so, yeah, let's get them.
Um,
Buddy buddies.
Later, Mark. Take care.
All right, Dr. Tim, thank you so much. Thanks for a great week. You like filled my cup in so many ways, honestly.
It was
Thank
very
you. Very nice meeting you. Y'all take care.
Yeah, they're like about to live their best little lives over there.
You're still in the clubhouse there?
Yeah.
Nice. Is that Stella on the Pilates Method Alliance page?
You know, I actually am not sure who's on the PMA page. It might be Carla.
Mhm.
It might be Stella. I'm not sure who's on it right now. Hi, PMA page.
What's going on, Alexa? I see Low Impact Fits there. Misty's kicking around. Yeah, so no, it was good. I find like I keep saying like all the time hey Carla, that we're Pilates plus people, and I feel like the Brink conference in many ways was like, let's look at the plus part. You know what I mean? Like all the like you Pilates is one corner of who you are in your collective lived experience. How do we get more stuff out of you? Those pieces that you didn't think were relevant, those pieces that you're too afraid to bring out because someone might not accept it, those pieces that you're still refining.
You might make me emotional.
Yeah. Those pieces that you didn't feel like the world was ready for yet. Like, it's just like, no, 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 go, run.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, not, I feel like Pilates has provided a pathway for me to be able to get out of situations that were unsafe for me and my family by providing me income and a path to exit. Pilates has enabled me to I've been in the Pilates industry actively since 2009. Like it's like the first business I've ever opened was a Pilates business. It's helped me to have a lot of firsts, and it's given me literally given me a voice, like in
Mhm.
made to be silent and small in certain parts of life before. Pilates was a thing for me to stand up in front of a group and say, I have something to share with you that's worth
Yes.
right now. And
Right.
so, yeah, Pilates has, it is like my life journey. Like
Yeah.
it has been, it's not just like a thing that I
Mhm.
do that's kind of cool. It's how my children exercise, like
Yeah.
it's a big, it's my why, like I do it because it's given me legs, it's given me wings, and
Yeah.
it's really been like my first love is dance. um Hi,
There
Stella.
it is.
What's up, girl? I was just saying, I was like, oh, it was so great
Everything just
seeing.
went from like almost crying to be like,
I'm sitting here. I'm so sorry because I'm still watching the clip you sent me, and I'm like, "What time is it? Is it now?" I'm like, "Oh, oh my gosh! Look at your babies.
This is the posse. You say hello.
Hi.
Hey,
hey.
Okay, you guys can keep watching Scooby-Doo.
oh my gosh! Which episode? I love Scooby.
They are watching the what's Mystery Incorporated? Scooby-Doo Mystery and the new Scooby-Doo is what they're watching now.
Because I know the new Scooby Doo. I have, yeah. So your kids would love me because I can sit there and watch all the cartoons and be right there with them.
All
So
up there.
I have to step for a second if you want.
sorry, the hijack started going into about Scooby Doo.
It's, oh no, good.
Because that was a dance too.
Buddy. I'm just opening up my text here because I'm gonna bring up Kara's thing. At the same time, we were doing PMA and I can't say fitness. Let me get our other one. At the same time, PMA was doing their thing and Brink was doing their thing. KSH finish strong. My friend Kara Agostino,
Yeah.
a couple times, was doing her workshop. She what's the name of it again? She once again, like Jenna and I'm sure everyone else, like they're just like, I'm so over social media at this point. But she just did a workshop on creative inclusive spaces,
Mm-hmm.
creative inclusive fitness spaces, and it is like Black women run, hosting it, organizing it, the whole night from start to finish. I was just asking her how it went, and she said it was just a tearjerker. It was just so powerful, and as women just feeling so seen and heard and just empowered from this Toronto lady who was doing her thing. So that was going on at the same time that we're doing it. So in so many different ways, I feel like we could, we said it before, like go where you need to go to get what you need to get. And it sounds like, people got that wherever they landed at this weekend. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole opportunities of us being able to be virtual has given everyone such a broad menu of opportunities to a place to be, or they would not have access to them. So, and having people like yourself telling everybody, this is all the things that are going on. They're all great. Just
Mhm.
find that place that speaks to you and be there and be present.
Yes. Okay, so here's this question might be a dangerous question to ask. Um, how much of that is male energy coming to this space and saying, I don't care what you think. We're all going to get along in here and we all have something to give. And it doesn't have to be a fight and a turf war and don't talk about the other person doing their thing this weekend.
You know what? I think it's a combination of several things. I think the industry itself is going through a change.
Mhm.
Where I think it's after so many years, and COVID has definitely done a interesting time for people to reflect internally, but also what their expectations are. I think as a community, we're more open, but also having a male voice, because sometimes women can be a little catty or a little competitive. But also, I think previously the industry fed into that, meaning my system is better than you, my teacher's better than you, what I do is better than you. And having a place now where people are just like, I'm a wellness person and I want to be the best wellness person that I can be. And that means listening to everyone in the industry and pulling little pieces that I can apply to my practice.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting
Yeah.
here like nodding my head. Just I mean, like to your question, which is like about the conferences this weekend, like, and kind of how we're coexisting. I think that it's really, I don't know about, I can't speak for anyone else's anything, but what I thought was really cool with the PMA conference is that we have 7 days to watch it later. It actually gave an opportunity for multiple things to be done. If you wanted to attend
Mhm.
2 conferences, if you wanted to do the PMA conference and do another conference, but
Yes.
conference didn't have a playback option and one does. It's like that's also a really cool thing. Just not that we're talking about virtual specifically, but that's
Mhm.
really cool that when you are in this virtual sphere, we don't have to worry about competing actually as much. We're
Right.
actually
It's not a like you've it's gone forever if you weren't there moment anymore.
Right. And that also puts people in silos because they're always, like we say, we gravitate towards what we know, what we feel comfortable with. And we see that even, I use the lunchroom type of analogy, in high school, we all gravitated towards a group that we felt comfortable with. It's the same
Mhm.
thing with bodies. So you're going to gravitate towards things that feel comfortable, people that teach like you, that look like you.
Yeah.
So being in an environment that gives you the opportunity to experience, you don't feel like you're missing out.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
absolutely.
There's it's funny. I think Jen is still here, or whoever may have saw me talk earlier. One of the things I talked about in the middle of my chat was the types of biases and how they could impact our leadership as we're trying to learn, express our how, and all this good stuff. Um, one of the things was an insider bias, and that is the sense of us having the circle or creating the perception of a circle, and now people would feel like I'm not part of that circle, so I'm not important or whatever it is. So it's on us to widen that circle. And it could be as simple as, like you said, swag. Everyone gets, a PMA thing, or everyone has a pink shirt because our studio wears pink shirts, or you go into social media and you give a shout out to someone for their birthday. So people start to feel included. They start to feel like they're on the inside, so we had to keep making the circle bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm, once again grateful for you two coming on here and for others who just jump on core conversations, because this is my way of making the circle bigger. So if your circle is classical and then I have contemporary people in, well, the circle's big enough for classical and contemporary people. So if you're a PMA person and someone hates a PMA and they both have been on car conversations, then you're both in that same circle. The circle is big enough for classical and contemporary and PMA and non-PMA and dancers and not dancers and men and women and I'm trying to make the circle as big as possible so that everyone feels like they're on the inside of something, because we all love movement and we're all here to help people.
Yes. Oh, you said that like so beautifully. My
Yeah.
children are loving life over there. But you said that so. I think I'm frozen. But you said that so beautifully, Martin, and it really, there's something so beautiful about opening up that circle, and we're working on diversity, and equity, and inclusion. When we open up the circle, we're actually able to really live out the mission that we're preaching, right? If the circle
Right.
is tight and small, not much can fit through there.
Mhm.
So I actually need to hop off. My children have been so patient, not having their mom. They are giving me the eye.
Give them a high five for me. I appreciate kids that age are like time bombs. You only have so much time before
Really
it all goes. So
all right. Like, I'm glad you can't see what's happening. Love you guys.
For an awesome job.
Thank you so much. I will see you both soon.
Yes.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
thanks, Emily.
Yeah, it's, when we were talking about that DEI model and looking at everything from that lens, that goes into broadening your circle, stepping out, I want to say kind of stepping out of your comfort zone, but it is for a lot of people stepping out of their comfort zone and looking and seeing what else is out there, and understanding there's space for all of us. I have no problems referring a client to somebody else if I don't have time, if I don't have that expertise, because I feel that that's what you do. That's how you live out things.
Yes.
And it was just, it was really interesting about our conference. While it was definitely not like yours, it was different. Yours was about manifesting, and I love that whole thing because I believe in it. I believe that, once you set your intention, your actions start to mimic that. And whether you need to be a deliberate intention at first, like all habits, and then it becomes natural. It's the same thing about broadening your circle. And it's just what we're doing about the PMA, and how, we're deliberate in all of our actions and how we look at things. And the conversations that you have every day gives people that perspective of moves forward, and again creating that space. So we're really excited about the future, and not a goal, it's not a destination, it's a journey. And
it's a journey. I see Trauma Informed Pilates. Beth, if you'd like to join us, I'd love to have you on. So I see Jennifer's asking to tell us more about what happened at Brink. I did mention earlier, it was just good. I feel like my brain's tired, because I feel like in so many ways I was challenged in to think about things, and there's so many lines and so many little things that I took away from it that are like almost like new language for the way that I look at things. It might sound a bit out of context now, but one of the things that Meg said, I can't remember Meg's last name right now, someone can help me. Just slipped my mind. But she was talking about the micro violence against her body. And the context was along the lines of we're so quick to like, how do we create space for ourselves and create openings, but then also I oh, it's in my notes here. One second. I'm totally butchering her talk. It was really good, trust me. I just yeah.
I understand. Honestly, are
What
you
was the
still with
line? If someone is here and like can remember the line that she used, because I was like, contraction. It was the opposite of as Beth comes in.
and Dr. Tam? Yes, I think
Microviolence, yeah. Hi,
oh,
Beth.
true. I agree with you.
Giving us room to expand. Okay, that was it. I remember when she's saying, one of the things we do where we have that gives us room to expand, so we can open up and be Meg Eris. Thank you so much, and space to contract as well. And the contract piece was the challenge. It was like, okay, well, we also go, how do we expand our but like when do we contract to take care of ourselves? When do you contract to say no? When do we do things that we're protecting ourselves against that micro violence against ourselves? The things where we're really hurting ourselves, but we don't recognize it in that moment that it's doing damage to us and where we're really trying to be. So it was good. I mean, that was how I heard it. I don't know if that's how you heard that, but like that's how I heard it in my spirit. Like, okay, take care of yourself a little bit more. If you want to be that intentional over there, that may mean you have to contract or pull back from some things over here as well. So I liked it.
No, I agree. That's what I took away from it. And what I loved about the experience at Brink was the through line. There was a thread between all the individual presentations, which we don't often see in conferences. And, you mentioned the way that James said something really resonated with you, whereas
Yes.
I took, something different from your conversation. And it's funny because I'm calling them conversations, even though they weren't. It felt like that, felt like an invitation to explore rather than this is the way you're going to do it. And so the experience was more conversational, even though the conversation happened after the presentation took place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think what's also really awesome is that understanding that the conversations will continue, that, these conferences and these workshops are like feeding grounds for conversations to continue so that we can all enjoy, like I'm learning more about what happened. I'm still watching part of your presentation and it was exciting. And I'm like, wow, I can't wait to go back and hear more and have more conversations about this. Martin, I'm going to ask a favor.
Sure.
Carla Harris was wondering if she could join in if you had space for her.
Yeah, look here. Let's get her in. Where is she? I'm coming. Okay, there it is. Hi, Jessica. I didn't realize you were in here too. Jessica Blunt. Let me
Wow.
find you.
All of us conference people are still awake. Are we high from the day or what?
Hi there, Carla.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Frozen?
I don't know. I might be. My brain is exhausted.
Yes. Yes. Thanks for
My
jumping
brain
in.
is done. Sure.
Beth, can you just give a quick recap on the stuff you were talking about? Like like I love how like we keep talking about like being Pilates Plus and just having the sense of your own signature, your own unique way of approaching movement and your how is so special. So can you just talk real quick about what you shared at Brink?
Yeah, so I teach from a trauma-informed perspective, and what I in particular shared at Brink was how trauma can impact posture, and we just want to be aware of that. And before we get into everything that we know about posture and stretching and strengthening, fostering more awareness, and it's not what we're seeing, but fostering, aiding the process of the client's posture awareness of where they are in their body, and if that's if they want to explore a different option. And so through exploration, through invitational teaching, through inquisitive process, and we work really alongside client or people.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes. So good. Oh, what is that? Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, it's so good. There's like all these angles. I think like Beth, when you were talking, my thought is that like there's people who think, okay, I've got my teacher's training, and now what? And then they hear different people talk from their different angle, their different perspective, and their lived experience, and like and all these things. And they're like, that could be me too. Like they see themselves in the work when people share,
Yeah.
where they came from. So, sorry, I'm just gonna read Dr. Tammy's comment here too. It says, I love when she mentioned that the client's trauma may not be their own. She really got me thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's deep because people do hold on to trauma, their environment,
Yeah.
whether, you know. So
So
yeah, we
their
had
paths
Carla,
are,
we all in our
I don't,
workshop, didn't we?
I didn't hear you, Stella, sorry.
Yeah, no, the
Do I have
reception
a,
is pretty choppy there.
Yeah,
oh,
we
I'm
all.
sorry, that's because my
Maybe you want to log
phone's
out and come
tired
back
too.
in.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah, generational trauma is real, Jennifer says, and then Dr. Tammy again said they may not even realize they have experienced something traumatic.
And it shows up in movement. Your body
Yeah.
reflects that.
Yeah.
We've done some workshops with the board on that, how trauma shows up in our bodies in different ways. And
Hmm.
so as movement specialists or movement, people, we need to analyze that and understand that.
And that's
Yes,
like
actually.
when I started my trauma informed journey, I got into it for serving for individuals who had experienced interpersonal violence. And then the more I expanded and did research, my personal knowledge, I was like, oh, I
Mm.
have experiences too, because we don't talk about it. I mean, we're starting as a profession, as a community to talk and
Yep.
about it a little bit more than we ever have in the past. But that naming and recognition was really helpful for not only my professional journey, but personal. And isn't that what a Pilates teacher's journey is about? It's a personal
Yes.
and professional endeavor.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, because you're the expert on this, but it sounds like talking about trauma and a trauma-informed approach is where saying you had a therapist was like 15 years ago, where it used to be a point of shame, and now people are like, oh, my therapist said this, my therapist has told me this, my therapist gave me this. There was a time when people wouldn't admit being in the counseling field. There's a time when people would be ashamed to say that they're going to someone for help. I think that now we're starting to hear more language around trauma in movement and its expression through the body. Now people are saying, I have trauma, or I didn't realize that was trauma related, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. Like the language is coming out and being normalized in a healthy way.
I agree. Yet there's still, I think one of the challenges is so personal. So just because I always give the example, just because someone has two people have experienced the same event doesn't mean that their experience and the impacts are going to be the same. So it's not that, it's like check the box, I experienced this and it's trauma. It's really as a personal endeavor, and it relates back to our family, our culture, our community, our support, just who we are
Mhm.
as a person at that stage and how we evolve and change. It's so complex, and it's
Yeah.
just like Pilates is a beautiful learning experience that can also be very challenging. Let's not devalue the challenge of learning about that
Yes.
at many points.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see if we can get Carla back on here as well.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she's not there.
Individual learning Pilates, but also with dealing with trauma. We all have our own unique experiences, and it's shaped.
Mhm.
Kind of like you can have a herniated disc on L5, but
Oh,
every
there.
person will be different. One person could be in a lot of pain, and
Yes.
someone no pain at all, and it could be the same herniation.
Right.
Can you
Yes.
hear me now?
Yes. Welcome.
Oh, good, good, good. Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good, good. How was
Good.
your last 3 days?
Oh my gosh. Incredible. And I'm glad they're over, but I don't even know. I have no words to describe. It was incredible. And being a non-Pilates person and coming in the way I came, was introduced to the PMA and then for us to have the success that we had these past 3 days was just incredible. I mean, it shows me that while change is or can be uncomfortable, it is needed. We really need to stir up the pot sometimes, because sometimes when you let something sit for a long time, it just kind of settles. And then when like, fixing a great stew, when you stir it up, all the flavors come up from the bottom.
Mm.
And that's really what I think we saw this past weekend. The diversity panel was, it was incredible to hear the stories about how, it just permeated. People were in tears. People were
Amazing.
really just shocked by how, when Robert shared his story about how,
Oh,
he was,
yes.
oh my gosh, just
I'm sorry.
incredible.
Sorry. Finish the story about Robert. I have a Robert Turner story, and Kara also just jumped in the chat too, and she was the lady who ran the other workshop this weekend. So I want to get to her story as well, because that was also a major event happening this weekend. So Robert Turner.
But I mean, when he talked about how, people that he was working with, and then he'd get folks coming in and just looking at him like, surely you can't be the owner, you can't be the teacher that they're all raving about. And it's just it's so telling of what our society is in right now, and it's just and where it has been for such a long time.
Mhm.
And it's just really only shows us every single day why we have to make changes, why we have to do things differently.
Yes.
And one of the things I put in the chat is that, the whole PMA team, none of us are Pilates enthusiasts, right? So we bring a whole different perspective to the craft, to the art. And, my goal is to just really make it a dynamic organization. And,
Mhm.
and I think that we're on the way to doing that.
That's great. He's had a great weekend there. What else? I hate to say ask one of you to leave, but I can only take four
I'm
people.
happy to go.
I
I'll
can only
hop
take
off
three
too.
people. And okay.
I'm happy to go because my brain is, if I put two sentences together in a row that are great,
I
then
know.
I'm doing a good thing.
I know we're on this. I'm like, I just want to get Kara on just because she does such great. So just reading Jennifer Singer, it's such an honor to work with you, Carlo. When I would consider 11 months ago, whew, so moving. Good stuff. Well, thanks for jumping on, Carla.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
perhaps you and I can have a core conversation, me and you, Martin.
absolutely. Let's get into that origin story. Yes.
You got it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye,
Awesome. Thank
Stella.
you.
Hi,
All
Carla.
right. Bye-bye.
All right, I'm gonna bring Kara on, and like I said, I don't want to keep you guys like. I know we're all like brains are like fried here, but um, Kara is come on right now. Hey, look
Hi.
at you all glamorous, like not in your workout gear.
Listen, I still have like post-conference face on.
Yes. Okay, so we have Brink in, PMA in, and your workshop. I keep forgetting creating safe spaces,
Creating inclusive fitness spaces.
inclusive spaces. Awesome. Can you just tell me? I want to hear like all about how that went because I
Oh,
couldn't go.
No, you can go because it was only for the ladies. It was only
Right?
for BIPOC women. And it was, I can't tell you, it was, you imagine these events and think about how special, how amazing they're going to be. And then it's even better. It was so special. So we had 5 panelists from different BIPOC communities. We had an Indigenous speaker. We had someone from South Asian community. We had a speaker, a Muslim. We had people joining from not only Canada and the US, but the Caribbean. Folks coming
Wow.
from Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago. And then what floored
Barbados.
me was someone joined in from them. And that was just, so we just had this fantastic global, collection
Really?
of women who are either fitness professionals or enthusiasts. And our 5 speakers talked about the work that they're doing within their communities to create inclusive fitness spaces.
Interesting. So like that's almost like it's almost like I don't want to oversimplify it, but where the PMA is saying like, how do we get this community together? You're saying, well, how are you giving expression in your respective communities?
That's right. That's right. How are you showing up? And the words that kept coming up were safety, creating
Hmm.
spaces that are safe for people, creating spaces that are accessible, and then
Yeah.
creating visibility. Those were sort of the 3 big words that kept coming up in all of the conversations. So you create a space that's safe for Muslim women to be able to show up that feels safe for them and is also accessible for them. One woman is working with seniors or folks who are 60 and up and are Muslim, and she's going right into the mosque and working with them, doing fitness with them. It's just some really phenomenal stuff that we learned about today.
Wow. Sorry,
Yeah.
Stella, you're gonna say?
So I gave a workshop on a similar, but it was only a shorter version of 1 hour workshop on creating safe space. It's called Pilates for Everybody. And that was one of the things I talked about. What are you doing in your community? How are you showing up to create an environment that people actually feel safe, but also welcomed?
Yes.
The music, the magazines, the colors,
Mhm.
accessibility, multi-language, do you have other instructors that speak other languages? That all of that plays into creating that space that people
Yes.
are safe and welcomed in.
Nice. Meanwhile, over in Brink, I was basically asking people, how are you showing up for yourself? Right? Because we rob the world of our gifts and talents when we're too busy trying to be like somebody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I got. I'm so tired. But yeah, so okay, so what's the plan? When's your next one? Are you doing these quarterly? Like I know, can you talk about what's your 30 thing? I keep forgetting the name as well.
Yeah,
Like,
30 strong is ongoing, right? Like that's a free
yeah.
group, meet weekly. And I think this Monday is our next meeting. So, again, 30 strong is a free group that I have for BIPOC women. We do a 30-minute workout and then we have a 30-minute conversation. And we usually talk about whatever is topical, whatever is happening in the world. That, if there's something, we'll pull things right out of the headlines. Sometimes we'll be more intentional. We'll say, this week we want to talk about how colorism shows up in our different communities. We want to talk about how we can create cross-cultural allyship. But there's always something that has us talking for far longer than 30 minutes. I'll tell you that.
So it's just a working title. That's basically what you're saying. Right.
But I'll say the thing that's it's been a year and a half now that I've been doing it. And it's so special to be on a screen with anywhere from 6, 8, 12, 15 other women of color that I've almost taken it for granted now how impactful that is. And then at the conference today, to 20 plus people, for some of them, that was the first time. For some of the panelists, that was the first time they've been to an
Interesting.
event. And it really impacted it. The thing that many
Yeah.
of them spoke about is how they were first and how they felt they started sharing things that they've never shared at a conference before, an event, because there was something about that community, that, you know, safe space and community that made them just want to show up in just a slightly different way than they. So it's a pretty important part of my life. It's been really important to me over the last year to have that space and create that space for myself. So I think don't underestimate talking about how do we, show up for ourselves and help our, and, because we do put a lot of care out to the members of our community, and we have to think how we care for ourselves in that. For me,
exactly.
that community is part of how I care for myself.
That's awesome. That's that kind of circles back to what Beth's doing with the trauma informed piece too. Like just being informed in terms of that as well is so powerful. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I feel
good.
like the through line between caring for yourself and creating a safe space for others and is the support piece and working in alignment with our zone of genius, whatever that may be, and really just taking the opportunity to transcend beyond what we typically have been told is our box to teach in, and just how beautiful the experience, just listening to other people here and other core conversations, how richer the experience is for us as movement teachers and also for the people who are engaging with us.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I planned to do this at 7. And then I thought I'm not gonna make it till 7, so let me just do it right now. And I just want to say I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for coming on. And can you smile? I want to take a quick screenshot since I have different peeps
So-
represented. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Ah.
You did.
I was trying to catch us, but thank
Yeah,
you
I did totally treat it. Okay.
don't get us in these weird facial expressions.
Totally. Well, okay. Well, I'll post it and we tried. Whatever. What's everyone's Sunday plans since we don't have to be anywhere, do anything virtually?
I'm sleeping and catching up.
Yep.
Pretty. I want to sleep until about 1 o'clock, watch a football game, and just veg. I told my team, 36 hours. I don't want to hear from anybody. So.
Nice.
So that's what I should have done. I will. I'll spend a little bit of time reading tomorrow, but I have a class tomorrow morning. I've got one of my in-person, we call it back alley fitness classes, and take over the laneway behind my house. And I don't know if you were on my stories this morning, but someone actually spray painted something, a racist message, right behind my garage studio this morning. It's since been washed off, but it feels even more important to get back into that space with my community, and take it back over. So I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. I'll be exhausted, but it'll be worth it.
You'll be fierce anyways, I'm sure.
Right.
That's right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. And kudos to all of you for sharing and just pouring your hearts out into our people. We're leveling everyone up by doing it. So it's all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Martin.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.